and welcome to The Best Girl Speaks. Today is Saturday, May 7th, and this is episode 300 and something. I'm Amy Beth, also known as the Fat Squirrel on Ravelry, and the Fat SQRRL on Instagram. Hi, how are you? Thanks for coming to visit. It's like lovely, so I especially appreciate that you took time out of your non-rainy day to come say hello. What's up? I'm sorry, the actual the light coming off of the garage is sort of a little bit blinding, so I've got to try to remember not to look over there. Our cinder block garage has been painted white, which, you know, means it's like dove gray now. Because, I mean, it's been, like, that's the original paint from, like, who knows how long ago. And so I've been putting off putting in a flower bed in front of it because I keep thinking I'm going to paint the garage. And yet I am crippled because I really want to paint the garage like charcoal gray. But our house, which has aluminum siding, is also like dove gray from being originally white. And it has like Poseidon blue. I don't know what color it was. Tsunami blue. It's got like a very deep aqua window paint trim because it was the only color my husband and I could. I don't know. Let's just not even get into it. Okay, let's get into it. My husband feels like he has the most amazing color sense that like has been bestowed on a human. And he constantly fights with me about color. So he very, like early on in our relationship, I would just be like, oh, you speak with such confidence. You must have very strong feelings about this that are like based in some knowledge or like deeper understanding. And now that we've been together for like 16 years, I'm like, you're full of it. So I always buy the paint. Why do I just like not just buy what I want? I just buy what I want. Because partly I'm not getting on a ladder to paint windowsills. That's partly why. Let's face it. Anyway, I have this like thing there of like I can't paint that garage because like then it's gonna like so like I haven't really decided what we're doing with the house. Like I mean obviously we're just deciding to not decide because I think we got a quote for painting the house was something like $15,000. Is that even possible? $15,000? How does anybody survive? Like there's health care and I need to spend $15,000 to paint my house? I think we should just really like, I'm just really gonna like accept the shabby. Like, come on, me. Who do you think you are? So, what was I even starting on about that? Oh, Lord. Oh, the glaring. So I was like really wanting to paint it like a charcoal gray because Hello Yarn is an evil temptress. And like all of her plants look so beautiful against that like very dark backdrop. And there's also several houses in my area, not like in my direct neighborhood, but like in the like fancy like neighboring neighborhoods that have been recently like taken like redone and redid and redudded. And they're so beautiful. But I know that because like I theoretically could paint our single story cinder block garage. Like I could theoretically paint it with like myself and like my teen and like the promise of pizza to other teens. But then the house. So yeah, I just need to accept the shabby. It's not hurting anybody. And instead just grow like 8-foot hydrangeas against it, which is apparently the plan I'm going for because I just went to the nursery. I dug up with the help of my family. Yes, they did help. But I dug up like a bed along the like side of the garage that I can see from here. And I think it's going to be perfect for hydrangeas because it's like, if you can't tell, there's like the back of our house and then our garage, like there's a yard in between. And our house faces east, like so the garage will face east, but it won't get all of the morning sun, which I'm a little nervous about because the house will kind of block that very earliest sun. So I'm a little nervous, but I mean, the tomatoes grow just like this shy of it, so I think it'll be fine. But it'll be blocked from like the evening and afternoon sun, so I'm really hoping that the hydrangeas will be happy there. I just found out that foxglove, I'm like, which one is the poisonous one? The foxglove will also tolerate some shade. So originally I was just like, maybe I'll just make a whole bank of hydrangeas, which I'm not saying no to. I love an oak leaf hydrangea. Do you know what that is? Okay. Google. Just take a moment. Just pause me and just Google oak leaf hydrangeas. I mean, unless you just are not prepared to be in love. If you're not prepared to be in love, then just hold off. Okay, don't do it. But if you are, Google them. They're amazing. Like, I thought I loved hydrangeas. And then my library several years ago got a little uplift, and they put oak leaf hydrangeas along one wall of the library. And I know coveting is one of those commandment thingies, but I gotta be honest, I do covet them. I love hydrangeas, but the oak leaf is like the bushiness of the bush is so intense, and like, I don't know, the texture of them, and then the actual flower itself is not like the beautiful like full rounded flower. It's like more conical, and it's like airier. Oh. So I'm trying to decide if my husband does not know that my husband does not know that the hydrangea can get to like 8 to 10 feet in circumference. Like, height is fine because it's against a garage. That it can get that big in circumference.
I actually mean diameter.
He doesn't know that. I mean, he will in several years. I'm like, dude, that's just less grass to mow. That's what I'm aiming for. Right? So like, but maybe I'll put some foxglove in there, because quite frankly, also, I just don't think I have the budget to put, I think I would need 3 hydrangeas against that wall. And like, I just don't know if I have the dollars this year. I went to the nursery, and it's not like a fancy, it's like a it is like a family business nursery. And like, I'm very happy with my purchase. Okay, do you want to see her? Okay, she is a snow queen. Okay, I'll just put the picture in. That's easier than me trying to show you the phone, right? So that is the oak leaf I chose. Snow Queen is what they're called. I was very tempted. I was originally going in looking for a ruby slipper one. And I still have that goal as one of them. The one that's like closest to the garage door will be a little bit smaller because they're gorgeous. But the nursery, the ruby slipper ones I think what it was is that they were probably from last year, maybe? I don't know. Or maybe they are from this year, but they were literally just like stem. They didn't have any leaves on them yet. And like, I know the nursery is good, and I know they know what they're doing, and they offer you like a 1-year warranty. But I was just like, I don't think I have that much faith. So I'm going to go back later in the year and see if it's like pepped up a little bit. Or maybe I'll go to another one, and then there'll be 7 other things that I need. Oh, why are plants so expensive? Anyway, so I'm not going to tell you her name yet because I'm still deciding. I know that the name that came to me, which was like the first name, is probably what I should stick with. Okay, I'm just going to do it. Her name is Maeve, and she's going to be very happy here, and she's going to grow so well. It's going to be great. We're going to have a wonderful relationship for many, many years. And yeah, but maybe this year. But then the foxglove is also one of those that's like a biennial. So like, if I plant the seed this year, it will not grow. I mean, it'll grow, but it won't have any flowers. Maybe I'll just get a few cheapies this year for flowers. I don't know what to do. Oh, and then this other side of my house, which I had thought I really wanted to grow a climbing hydrangea, which I'm still in love with. Also, stop and Google those. Just take a minute. Also amazing. But then I saw a picture of somebody's porch with climbing roses on it, and then I was like, oh, I might need those. I think it'll get enough sun there. It definitely gets all the morning sun, but then, like, again, we're in the city, so our houses are like 4 feet apart, 5 feet apart. Maybe they're 5 feet apart. I don't even know. So, like, will she get enough sun? I think she will, though. And there are some climbing roses, like the English roses, that don't need as much sun. But I also have to build up a flower bed for her because there is dirt there, but it is basically a hell strip. I mean, it's not technically a hell strip, but it's what one is. Like, it is just like non-nutritive, rock hard, great for growing peppermint, and various weeds of unknown origins. But it really does need some like building up to be lovely for a home for a lovely vining thing. But oh, I want to. Right? Are you like a fellow must do everything all at once, therefore nothing ever gets done? Or what must it be like to have the appropriate brain chemicals that allow for moderation? If you have appropriate brain chemicals to allow for moderation, I just want you to take a minute and like send thanks to your ancestors for really paving like a good path for you. I mean, I send thanks to my ancestors too because I don't know how they survived. Obviously, it was a time when like literal circumstances created moderation versus now when like moderation is, what is that? What is that very small voice I hear off in the great, great distance? I can't hear the voice of moderation over the din of everything else. Some of you were like, oh my gosh, be personally accountable. I am. But I am also aware that I do have some obstacles. Just saying. Both of those things can exist in the same place. What is it? The kid. Yes, that's fine. Sleepovers are happening. Yeah, that's fine. Thumbs up. Good job. I don't know. I mean, I just sent that without even thinking, but it's fine. It'll be one of the teens that helps him paint that garage. Anyway, believe it or not, this is a podcast in which I talk about making stuff. I'm not even going to call it knitting anymore because it's just making stuff. I enjoy making stuff. So let's talk about that. Oh, Hydrangea just right out there and she's just in the wind. She's not in the ground yet. I know. Because I'm also having trouble deciding like how to set up the barrier to this flower bed. Like the most like reasonable thing would be to get those landscaped because it doesn't need to be like built up because the soil back there is actually surprisingly good. It has a startling amount of broken brick in it. Like startling. Like our house has a brick porch. But I don't know where all that brick... The fancy house next door also has a brick porch, but there are no brick houses in our neighborhood. I don't know where all that brick came from. Was there, like, an oven back there? Was there, like, a brick carriage house? I mean, that's not even possible, because it would be, like, of better quality than the house itself. I don't know. And that would also be just not enough brick for that. But, like, maybe there was, like, a brick wall out back. Maybe that's what it was before they put in the cinder block garage. But anyway, there's like a startling amount of brick in it. So like before I had tried to dig it up and it was impossible. It was so hard to break the like sod that I was just like, I'm gonna have to make a raised bed for these flowers. But a couple weeks ago I was like blessed with some like weird energy. New moon and spring, come on, what's gonna happen? Things are gonna get done. So I went out and started digging that bed and then it was much easier on one side, so it kind of gave me enough momentum to get through the like. And then once I broke the sod off, the dirt underneath seems like it's like very nice quality. There were lots of earthworms in it, so I'm actually pretty pleased with it overall. Oh, but I still have to figure out like how to like edge it, like not for like aesthetic purposes, but just to try to help like delineate. This is where grass. This is where clover can grow. I'm actually aiming for clover. Like I am like, why are my husband actually? You know what? That's not true. My husband actually, I think, really enjoys mowing the lawn, so I'm just gonna let him have it. I mean, it'll just be a few more years and then he'll be over it, I'm sure. But he actually, I think, really enjoys mowing the lawn. I mean, but anyway, I need to delineate like this is not things to mow and this is things you can mow. So I'm trying, like, it seems like the obvious thing is just to put in like some landscape timbers just because like that's affordable and like very pretty easy. But I also just don't like the like really hard line of those. I don't know. Oh my gosh, maybe I should just take firewood and like, maybe that's what I should do. Why don't I just do that? I mean, I could always change it later. I don't know what's happening with me and the Jonathan Van Ness. I'm not sure. But he is growing pumpkins on Instagram and like, I can't say no. I'm so invested in his pumpkins. I can't. Anyway, so yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, hydrangeas. I've been really like trying to like not go to the nursery. Just don't go to the fancy one up north because they're probably gonna. They have a donkey. If you're in Indianapolis, the forest flower is lovely. I mean, it's just gorgeous. They have both indoor plants and outdoor plants, which is also where I went and got mine, which is called. I'm just like saying sounds. If you're new to the podcast, bless your heart. It is always like this, but I am trying to keep it in line a little bit more. Not like a lot more, but just a little bit more. What's it called? Okay, that's what I thought, but I was going to say Damien's, but it's like Damons. Dammann is where I got my hydrangea. They had apple trees, y'all. I did not even buy an apple tree. Thank you. I appreciate your applause. I didn't even buy one. They even had Cortlands and Empires. It was Empire. Cortland. They had Red Delicious, which, although I will say, our local-ish orchard had Red Delicious that I ate, which were actually very delicious. So, I mean, but I'm also not supporting that. Yeah. I didn't even buy one. They also had tree hydrangeas, which then somebody in the comments said that she also had tree hydrangea. Did you even know that was a thing? It can exist either by like just pruning it so that you don't get like the bushing aspect, but which also gives me hope that maybe I can rein in, like maybe I can get the hydrangea to be like 8 to 10 feet wide, but not 8 to 10 feet deep. You know, I'm hoping like I could go with like 5 feet deep pretty easily. But I'm gonna let her go. I'm gonna try to trim her back a little bit, just because I won't be able to get to the compost bin if I don't. But anyway, so they could either do that by like just like pruning excessively, I guess, or by like literally grafting the hydrangea on to like tree rootstock. What is this world? They also had a Julia Child rose, which was beautiful. I didn't smell it, which was silly of me. But it was just so pretty. I was struck. And then it was called Julia Child. And I was just like, I've never considered myself a rose person. But suddenly, I am an English person. Suddenly, I'm like, I need all the English roses. Just need masses of foliage. I have 0 plants for gardening. That's not true. I have almost no plants for gardening. I didn't even start tomatoes. I'm not growing tomatoes. I'm gonna grow some winter squash as we discussed on my oh my gosh, my dream of hog panels for like trellising. Inflation has like doubled or tripled their prices. It's okay. But anyway, so like I definitely gonna go some winter squash to try to train them up on the trellises to see how that goes. And by trellis I mean literal galvanized welded like mesh fencing with holes cut into it occasionally so that I can reach in and get a tomato. And definitely also get scratched because there's no protection. Whatever. So I'm gonna grow my pumpkins. And then, I mean, I got some seed potatoes, but I'm really not, I mean, they're obviously not already in the ground, so. But I'm gonna totally grow some dahlias. Oh my gosh. Right. I'm so excited. I had kind of planned to spend X number of dollars on like building up this plant bed in the back, which I then didn't have to do. So I may have reallocated those funds. I'm pretending like there's a budget in my life. The budget is how many dollars I like have in that moment. I have some serious issues. Okay, actually I'm really stressed about it lately because I just cleaned out like my like room of requirement room, and it's really been stressing me out. There's been a lot of like self-flagellation. So like I am saying that like ha ha ha, but I'm also really stressed out about it. So like if you're there, sis, I'm with you. Stressful, yo. But anyway, I just wanted you to know that like I'm like, oh yeah, I reallocated those dollars. Those dollars were never like permanently allocated to anything. That's beyond my skill set. Just that's not who I am, unfortunately. I wish I was, but I am not. But I reallocated those dollars into dahlia buds, bulbs, things, roots, doodles. They're not called bulbs. Are they called bulbs? I mean, they're a bulb. Whatever. They're going to be so pretty. I'm so excited. In 3 years, I'll totally share. Because especially in 3 years, apparently you can like split them out and like you have more plant babies. So they're actually permanently moving into a previously only garden box. So I'm like really making a move. I have some brassicas, and I have I have some brassicas that I'm gonna try. We'll just see. I've never grown them, but I'm gonna try this year. But I did get some local, like some regionally local starts from like a local use the word local more. So from part of the Indie Parks department, they have a plant sale, and you can do pre-order if you want to or whatever, and then all the dollars go back into the community to help with different projects and things like that. So I did get some plants that are native plants that I'm hoping to put into like our kind of pollinator bed, which may spread into like that bed that I'm not going to have 3 hydrangeas for this year. So excited about those. But like I've been really slacking on the vegetable front. I just barely need flowers this year. So yeah, yay! That's what's happening with gardening though. How are you guys doing? Are you excited about anything in particular this year? Apparently, our local like houseplant store that I just keep saying the word local. Like you know what I like up the way. They're hosting like a big to-do where they're gonna do like a plant. They're organizing. There's birds fighting. They're organizing like a plant exchange and like a little to-do, and like it's gonna be. I'm so excited for them. No houseplants though. It's a hobby. Anyway, oh my gosh, I'm so hungry. Let's eat. No, we'll just drink water for now. Okay. So let's talk about this thing that we do about making stuff. Okay, so I do have a sewing thing to show you. I made, it's a free pattern. I think you have to give them your email address. But it's Peppermint Magazine, and Peppermint Magazine and Paper Theory Patterns, issue 47. It's called a pocket skirt, but I think everybody pretty much calls it the peppermint pocket skirt. And it goes to a size US 28, which is 57.5 inches. Now, that is smaller than my hip circumference. But what I did, it was free. So that's what I'm feeling. So here's my skirt. I'll put a picture of me wearing it here. So I made my pocket skirt out of a 5.3 ounce linen from fabric_store.com. I believe it's less than $15. This was just kind of left over from another project, but I do think it's a great weight for this skirt, and it's a pretty versatile weight overall. They call it their medium weight. So yeah, the other thing I wanted to say about this pattern is that it's really great for beginners. There are only 4 pattern pieces. There's a front panel, a back panel, and then there's 2 panels you sew together to create this pocket on the side. It is supposed to blouse open like that. That is actually how it's designed. It's not supposed to be flush. And it has an incorporated waistband. So you're not applying a waistband. You're basically kind of like hemming and folding over to create a casing for your elastic. Skirts are a great beginner project because they're much more forgiving on fit than other things. The other thing I would say, the only thing I would hesitate about recommending it for a beginner is that I made mine with French seams. And so if you don't have a serger, and I don't think that just zigzag on top of linen is quite enough to keep it from fraying. So that would be my only concern if you're a very early beginner, is that there aren't like explicit directions beyond like either serging or what have you for finishing seams. It's not hard to make it into a French seam. It's pretty easy because, again, they're just all straight seams, but that is the only reason I would hesitate. And then I forgot to mention I'm also wearing the Ashton top, which is by Helen's Closet. Okay, so here it is. Things I did differently. I did add like on the fold. So like the front and the back panels are cut on the fold. And so I scooted them away from the fold by 1 inch. So I basically added 2 inches to the front and the back. And that was partly, well, that's actually about right. So that would add 4 inches, which would put me a little bit under, like my hips are like 61. So that would be like 61.5. Well, yeah, because there's no additional seam allowances because I just added to the full. So yeah, so that's about right. So that's about the fullness that is indicated. But I didn't want to skimp. Like if it were a full skirt, I would have just been like, whatever, it's fine. But I didn't want to skimp because on some people it looked like there was less fullness. And this linen, while I said in the thing, is a medium weight. I was just a little bit worried that if I didn't have enough ease that it would be wonky. So I am very pleased with the amount of ease. It just took a little bit over 2 yards. I want to say it says 2 yards, but I needed a little bit more. And maybe that's because I didn't lay my pattern pieces out as well. But this was kind of just like my wearable muslin. Because in recent memory, I've not made a skirt for myself. So I wasn't even sure if I would like it or whatever. But I think I do like it. Oh, the other thing I did differently, I don't think it tells you to do this in the pattern. I really am a fan of stitching into my elastic. I don't know if it's just because I have a larger circumference, which I use the non-roll elastic, like the Dritz kind. And this is 1.5 inch. Yeah, it's 1.5 inch. But it still rolls, and like it rolls instantly. So it's not even like you get it's just so. And I really don't like that. It really bothers me for whatever reason. So the first time I saw this was in a Sew Liberated pattern, I think when I made my Arthur pants, that you sew, like you put your waistband in just like you normally would, right? You're all ready, it's sewn, you got your casing sewn down, you're done, like it's wearable. But what you do is just like get your elastic all duded out, right? Like all evened out. And then you just put pins in around. You can put like, I don't know, 8, 6, 8, depending on how big you are. Just like like this much. Maybe even this much. Actually, probably more like this much. You put your pins in, and then I put my machine on a 4mm stitch, which is the longest stitch that my regular, like flat, like my regular straight line commercial stitch machine will do. I think I said too many words there, but whatever, you know what I mean. And then you basically stretch your elastic. So you don't need to use a stretch stitch. You're just using a long stitch, but you're stretching your elastic. So just 1 minute. Anyway, Helen's Closet just did like a little tutorial on it on Instagram, which I did not watch, but I feel confident is like wonderful and lovely. So if you're interested, you can find out more about it there, or buy a Sew Liberated pattern that has elastic in the waist. It's my favorite. So I did just 2 rows, which really 1 row is totally fine, but 2 rows is my favorite. Those are the only things that I did differently. I didn't lengthen it. I am 5'7", and I have a very long waist, but very short legs. So you can see the length, and I did hem it more than was suggested. That's the other thing. I think the total hem was supposed to be 4 centimeters. And mine was 3 inches, I want to say. So that was another thing to do. And again, I might even hem it a little bit more. I'm not entirely sure yet, but I think I'm pretty excited about it. Okay, I am excited about it. I hope I'm going to be pleased with it. So yeah, giant pockets for yarn balls. Who wants more? Not this gal. Okay, so I brought my sweater down just in case I got cold. Oh, also in sewing. Oh, how convenient. I forgot I was going to talk to you about this. I had purchased this, and I don't know if I talked about it originally or not. So I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but some of you are new anyway, so it's fine. So I purchased this linen fabric from fabric_.com. Actually, maybe it's linen and cotton. It could be linen and cotton. And it's a waffle weave. So this has been washed and ironed. This is what it looks like. And I wanted to make some washcloths because I really love the like slightly scratchiness of it. It's not too scratchy. No, it's fine, I think. Can you hear the washing machine? I don't know. I'm sure it'll be fine. So yes, so I want to make some washcloths. So here are what I have so far. So I made one with, so this is what the fabric looks like after you wash it. It gets all waffly and lovely. I tried one with bias, this is just homemade bias tape, but with bias tape hemming. Didn't care for how that looked because. Then I tried one where I actually doubled it. So this is 2 layers. Oh wow, the layers kind of like felt together a little bit. That's kind of fun. And then I just sewed the edges and then turned it inside out and sewed like a top stitching around it, which I do like, but boy, that's a lot of fabric to use, and it is kind of heavier. Now, I did make like some kitchen towels with it like this, and I did like it for that. Like especially like a mat underneath of the dish drainer. That's what I like it the best for. But like that was really not what I wanted. So then I decided that I would try to just like fold over like a total of 2, do a double 1/2 inch hem. And so that's what this, but I was like, what happens if I just like hand stitch it? Because that's kind of fun, just to have like a little hand stitching project that you're like, oh, that's, but then I was, so I just did like a little, and it's got this kind of, again, when it's ironed, it has pretty clear checking that you can just stitch like a cross stitch, basically like a 1/2 of a cross stitch is what I did along the edge. And I think I like this one the best. I think this is going to be my favorite. I need to wash it again to make sure that that's that little cross stitch is going to hold up. I'm pretty confident that it's going to be fine. But yeah, I think that's my favorite. So what I actually did is I didn't even miter the corners. I just, right? Just live on the edge. Yeah, so I just took a strip of what I like to do. I have a hem guide that's like I think Clover makes it. It's kind of like a felty-ish kind of feeling fabric, and it's got markings on it up to 2.5 inches or 2.25. I can't remember. But for something like this, when you're going to be hemming a lot, what I like to do is just cut a piece of like poster board. So I cut a piece of poster board about this long and an inch deep, an inch wide. That's what those words are. And then I just put it under one edge. So you just put this fabric up to the edge of the poster board, and then you can just iron the pants out of it. And then what I did for these is then I just I just made one crease, and then I just turned it under so that the raw edge met that crease, and then ironed it again. Like lots of times they'll tell you to measure it twice, like measure it 1/2 inch, iron, roll it over again, 1/2 inch, iron, but like that's more measuring than I want to do for something like this, you know, for a skirt or something, or like, but like for something like this, I'm fine. So yeah, that's what I did. And the fabric is, I mean, it's not cheap. I think it's I want to say that it's $18 a yard. And they show you, they do have a pattern. So if you Google linen waffle washcloth pattern, it'll probably take you to it. But they do have a pattern. They give you a cutting layout that if you buy 3 yards, you can make what is apparently a ginormous bath sheet, 2 hand towels, and 4 washcloths. But you could easily make 5 just by making them like a tiny bit smaller. And again, the bath sheet people say is enormous. So but you know, washcloths and stuff are so expensive. And again, then they're just like not, these are so, ooh, they're so scratchy and good. So yeah, I did those. So yeah, I think I'm going to give them one more wash just to make sure. But this I think is the favorite. It's just the 1 inch plain like box hem, like, you know, and basically a 1/2 inch double hem. And then just like either hand stitch it or sew it, whatever, with the machine. You do you. But it's kind of fun to have the little hand stitching on it. And again, it's a nice little project that you can get done, but like it gives you a little break if you're knitting a lot or looking at your phone a lot. I wouldn't know what that's like. So that's there in sewing. Oh, also in sewing. No, that's, we've talked enough. I'll talk about that next time. Okay, so let's talk about spinning. Right? Okay, so I told you, I don't know if I told you, I'm in the Knit Spin Farm Bat Club, monthly club. And if you have the means, I suggest. Because, I mean, she has 3 different ones. She has the one I'm in, which is like breed specific. She has like a color progression one, I think. And then another one, which I'm not sure. But, so this one, I just was going to spin, because I just took my class about single plies. And so I was like, oh, I got to practice right away. Where did I put the, oh, it's in the book. So this is one of the installments, right? It's called Prom Dress, Party Dress, Vintage Party Dress. And it is 100% Hill Radnor, right? I just spun it single ply super fast. I thought maybe I would try like a little tiny weaving with it. Like not a loom weaving, like a box, like a old piece of cardboard weaving, maybe. Just to see what happens. But so she gives you like this great information about the breed, which, and then also this is one of the breeds that is given in the Fleece and Fiber source book. So then you can augment your little information from Joanna with further research, and then you get to see a picture of these handsome boys. Aren't they handsome? I mean, that is a handsome sheep. Like, come on. Right? Best known for, not well known, a good all-purpose wool with the potential for tweedy effects. So they're a smaller fleece. Their fleeces are only 4.5 to 5.5 pounds, which is pretty normal for like a non-improved breed. But it was very pleasant to spin. It's definitely not like the softest, but I would wear it. I don't really wear any wool sweaters without something under them, just because like my body is so hot. But I would definitely wear it like on a shawl or something, or a scarf that was close to my skin, and I would definitely make a sweater out of it. But it's not like baby merino-y soft, but it's, I mean, I would also not say that it's particularly scratchy, so love it. So that's spinning. I started doing a little core spinning, but I'm not sure how that's working. It looks very pretty, but I think it might be very too kinky. We'll see. Let's see. Knitting. I finished objects. So I don't think I mean, I'm pretty sure that I did not show you this last time, but I finished my, oh, I didn't trim the ends. Dang it. I finished my cowl. And this is this uneven surfaces? That's what I want to say. But you know, I'm kind of the worst. And by kind of, I mean, I'm definitely. This is the Uneven Surfaces Cowl, Uneven Surface Cowl by Dolly Bardouage. So here is one side of it. I mean, hi, are you excited about that color? That orange is a Madeline Tosh, but then here's the super secret inside reversible side. So the trellising is with a hedgehog fibers. Right. It's got the perfect amount of body for just a single layer cowl. Like if I pull it up, woohoo! She's crowning. You know, if I want my face to be covered, my hair will help to kind of give it a little bit more something. But also, like, it will fall down if I want it. Right. I'm really excited about it. It's so fun. And then you're like, also can do it this way. So you could also make it like gray with like a very bright stripe or something, so that you could have like an alternative between like ka and not. So like if you have somebody that you knit for that wants more neutral colors, but you just need a little bit of oomph, I feel like that. Because you can, I mean, you can see the other color from the stockinette, we'll say from the stockinette side. But it's not, it definitely is very subdued from the front, from the stockinette side. And it was totally fun amount of knitting. Like in terms of like doing the pleated knitting, which is not my favorite usually, but it was just like a great amount of it. You didn't have to do a ton of pleating. It was in the round, so it wasn't, you weren't, you know, so you just had some stockinette joy in between. Highly recommend it. Very enjoyable. I also finished some socks from Knit Spin Farm. These have been on the needles for like over a year, I want to say. They just were dormant. Because they're wintry, but look at how fun her striping pattern is. This one is irregular stripes, right? So, Knit Spin Farm is not a paid sponsor of this program. Not a paying sponsor. She is a paid sponsor because I am paying her. But she is not a paying sponsor of this program. I just enjoy her materials. But this is her Superwash Tarhi sock, which is 90% Superwash Tarhi, 10% nylon. Yeah, and I have a very wide foot. Well, I have a wide foot. So I do a 72 stitch sock. And these I did some 3x2, 4x2. 4x2 ribbing on. And then I also finished my Aloft shawl. So again, it's Aloft, and it's from 52 Weeks of Shawls. And this is a 6-pack gradient from Fiber Optic. Oh my gosh, are you going to Maryland Sheep and Wool? I mean, I know fiber optic is and she's not watching, but are you going to Maryland Sheep and Wool? Tell me all about it. Post all of your pictures. It's going to be so beautiful. I know it is. I'm so excited for you. This is my aloft shawl. Oh yeah, fiber optic yarn, 6-pack gradient. Bam, which you can find at Maryland Sheep and Wool. But here she is. She's all blocked. I did not pin it out, even though it is lace. It's DK, and it has enough weight, I think. Well, I know, because this is what I did. I just washed it, wrung it out, and then hung it outside to dry from the I-cord edge. And I think it blocked out a beautiful amount. So the pattern is really originally written for fingering weight. As you can see, this one is, well, I don't know if you can see. This one is a fingering weight. Cashmere is the base. I think it's an 80-10-10. So I think it's 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, 10% nylon. Held alongside a mohair silk from Webs. So yarn.com Webs. It's their Southampton yarn base. So yeah. I used almost my whole gradient. I did have a little bit left of the darkest gray, the last color. And I have no idea how much of the Southampton I used. I did switch to like a silvery, because this color down here was all held with natural. And then I switched to like a silver on this one because I didn't want it to stand up too much against the gray. So yeah, yay! So that is done. And those are all my finished objects. Right. Okay, what else do we have? Okay, so I have another pair of socks from the Spin Farm. So I finished one. This is a colorway that she based off of a Goodwill find that was like a soupy soup bowl or something. It was like a soup bowl that had like a recipe on it, you know, like the 70s-ish. And this was her like inspiration for the colorway. And like, how good is that? Right. I did do a heel flap. I don't know what happened. This one I did, most of the time I just do an afterthought heel. I actually really like how afterthought heels fit me. I put a few extra rows at the base of them to give just like a little bit more room in my instep, but for some reason I just knit a heel flap on this one. But like, look how well it worked. Can't even tell. Like, how magic is that? So is this the licorice? Is that what it is? Licorice pattern? I think it's licorice. But anyway, you just do and it's a free pattern. You do a slip stitch and it's like every third stitch is slipped for 2 rows, and then you knit a row of stockinette. And like every third stitch is slipped for 2 rows, and then you do a row of stockinette. Twizzler, that's what it is. You can see how I get confused. And then I'm this far on my other one. And like, oh, I made this bag so many years ago. Like, I mean, okay, see, this is the problem. Like, again, I am like beating myself up for having too much fabric in my house. But then I'm also like, but I want more of this fabric. Like, it's so perfect. Is it not the best? And it's, I mean, it's gotta be at least 5 years old. But look at this flipping bird. Right? It's so precious. I'm trying to really practice some forgiveness. like you are trying to run a business. You are doing it by yourself. I mean, you know, with the support of people around you, but like you're doing it yourself. Like, you know, some people build whole buildings that then don't get rented out. You know, like it's okay if you maybe bought too much of that fabric and you don't think you're going to be able to use it. Like, it's okay. It's okay. Right? Like, my failure feels very big to me, but on like the scale of things, you're doing okay, sis. Doing okay. Oh my gosh, I wish I could just remember that. But also wish I could remember not to buy anything. Do you have a reminder to help you not buy things? Like, how do you do it? I don't know how to do. I'm really, well, I gotta find the thing that's right for me. So like, but maybe you know what's right for you and it'll be special and right for me. I don't know. It's so complicated, right? Like, my partner like can just not buy anything because he like doesn't have to buy anything, because like I am the person that buys all the groceries. I am the person that buys like any clothing that's needed. I am the person that does the dog stuff. I am the person like, and so like because I have to do all those things, it feels like I don't know. Is that putting me more in the cycle of just like, this is a thing I do? And again, like as a business owner, like I have to buy certain things, like, right? Like, cause I make stuff and like you have to buy things. So it is hard to find the, I don't know. Sorry. Not sorry. Thank you for going through that with me. And really, I'm just going through it. So like, maybe you can also be like, oh, okay. Like, okay, somebody else is also struggling with this. Second to last thing I'm going to show you. So remember last time I had just purchased this manchalope from Yarn Social, Kansas City. Is that right? It's Yarn Social. Okay, I was right. It's Yarn Social, Kansas City. And it is a lope style yarn, but it's made with the wool of the Manchego, the sheep that they make Manchego, the sheep whose milk creates the Manchego cheese. Oh, that was probably a split something or other, but you got it right. So I use it, it comes in, it's like double stranded, and if you use 2 strands, it's 251 yards for 100 grams. And I would say that it is at least a worsted weight. I think Ravelry lists it as a DK, but I would definitely say minimum worsted. Minimum. And then it says if you can use 1 strand, but I don't know how you would use 1 strand because they're caked together, like the strands are together, and the yarn breaks very easily. And so I don't even want to imagine how you would separate them and not lose your mind. Now, so if yarn breakage bothers you, like don't do this one. Like try a regular lope first. But if you're pretty comfortable with split splicing, and you are not a tight knitter, it was very fun. But like, you don't know how hard I'm pulling. But maybe the slowness of it indicated that. I'm trying to do it like at hecka slow. Like let's just, I'm barely moving. Okay, so it does come apart quite easily. Even just like sometimes when you're like, so like the way I knit, I have to like pull a quantity off of the cake and then knit with it. Like I cannot knit from the cake. Like that would not work for me. That is all to say, I highly enjoyed it. It was a little bit slower, I think, because I was actually knitting it, because it's like grabbier. Maybe, I don't know why. It was a little bit slower knitting, but it was very pleasant. So nice and sheepy. Like, so squishy. I think anytime you knit with 2 strands of something, like, it's not then a round yarn, it's like a rectangular yarn, because they don't, unless they're like actually twisting around each other. Like they're not like perfectly going to be round. And I think that always creates a much squishier texture anyway. And then again, this yarn is so airy that you get even more. Right. So this pattern, oh my gosh, you're like always wanting to know stuff. This pattern is the section cut cowl. No, that is another pattern that I'm going to knit soon, which, by the way, have you seen it? Shayna Lines is just the best. It's this one. That's my next cowl to knit. It is, this one though is called the Chirrup Cowl, Chirrup Cowl by Asa Tricosa, and it is like this. So you can, and so that is one color, and then I've just started my second color, and so this is my special yarn cowl. Where'd the, so this is the liminal yarn from M to the Third. This, she has liminal, I think, in fingering and decay, right? No, probably not called liminal, but it's, I think it's the same fiber mix. It's 100% New England source Romney and U.S. merino wool blend, hand dyed with natural dyes. So it's EMTOTHETHIRD M to the Third yarn.com. And also she's hecka cute. So white, isn't this the best color? Oof. It like manages to have like the qualities of scrumminess, but is greener. Like it is like verdantly scrummy. It is so lovely. So yes, I'm excited. And now I'm changing it up a little bit. I'm going to do stockinette because my theory is that like I'll have two different textures and two different colors, which I kind of like the idea of. We'll see. So that's that. And then the last thing that I picked up / found during spring cleaning, I had been looking for it for several weeks and I couldn't find it. It's so embarrassing to admit. But it is my Neon Beast, which is a pattern by Vera Valimaki. Whoa, and it's really coming off the stitches. I mean, off the needles. I thought I had a protector on here. I think I have it just on one side. That's right. Because this is I'm at a place where I'm actively only knitting on one side. So I had a little guard on the other side. Not on this one, because I probably didn't expect it to sit in a knitting bag for 100 years. So, right, I gotta get it done. That's so springy and good. Love it. So I'm on like the bordery. So on this picture, I am on gray. Wait, did I actually, is this the pattern that I used? No, because that would be there. This is not that pattern. Which pattern is this? I'm gonna have to go look. You're right. It's not this pattern. I was thinking of doing this one, and then I changed to different. Okay, it's not the Neon Beast. If I can remember, I'll put in the name of it. It's the Stay Soft shawl by Vera Valimaki. I mean, same designer, but yeah, Stay Soft. Sorry. This yarn was given to me by Espace Rico. It is their Sunday morning base. This is the 4-ply fingering. It's 75% BFL, 25% Massam. Right? I think that's how the British say it. And it's 432 yards for 100 grams. Okay. So I'll figure out what shawl that is and work more on it before we see each other again. Okay? Okay. All right. I will have a shop update. I believe it will be May 15th. But I think what I'll do is just do like a little tiny YouTube video of it. Like, hey, we'll see how that goes. I am really excited about it. It's like all printmakery inspired fabric and stuff, and I'm pretty jazzed about it, but I just don't have enough to show you yet. So, but I wanted to get a podcast out. Thanks to my lovely patrons who make that a priority in my life. Fist bumps, y'all. If you'd like to find out more information about becoming a patron of the podcast, you can find it in the link tree below. Look at that. I was so smooth. So fancy. Yeah. If you're not interested, I totally get it. But if you could like or subscribe to the video feed, that would be the coolest, basically. All right. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.